Hello, my name is Rahama. I'll be the one providing you with the information on which laptop would be the best for your profession, in your case, a software engineer. First, I'll give you two options on the two laptops that I would recommend for you as a software engineer. The first laptop will be the one with the minimum requirements that you will need, and the second laptop will be the one with the maximum requirements. So, if you have a little bit of money left over, this would be the best, well, at least in my opinion. I'll also be going in detail for each of the laptops when it comes in terms of price and the hardware and software portion of it as well. Now I'm going to be talking about what you do in your profession as a software engineer. So, as a software engineer, you work very closely when it comes to coding. So, you will be working on actual code for software using programming languages such as Java, C++, Python, or JavaScript. They follow coding standards and best practices to ensure the code is maintainable and efficient. Next, you're going to be working on testing. You, as a software engineer, are responsible for testing the software to identify and fix bugs or errors. This includes writing test cases, conducting unit tests, and user acceptance tests to ensure the software functions correctly. Lastly, you are responsible for debugging. When issues or defects are identified during testing or in production, software engineers debug the code to find and fix the root of the problems. This is why you need a laptop to work to the fullest potential so you won't have any problems in the future. Now I'm going to be talking about one of my two recommendations. Now I'm going to be talking about one of my two recommendations, which is the Windows 11 laptop. And I'm going to be talking about what you need minimum. I'll now be talking about the essential hardware parts needed in the laptop. For starters, I'm going to talk about the cost of the laptop. So the laptop costs $749. From my perspective, that is very, very reasonable for what you're going to get with this laptop. I would recommend a quad core processor for you to buy. For most software engineering tasks, a quad core CPU, which is 4 cores, is a good starting point. It provides a good balance between performance costs. You can comfortably run your development environment, compile code, and have multiple applications open simultaneously. I'll talk more about a good core processor next, what it is, and what a CPU is. A good processor CPU, which stands for Central Processing Unit, is essential. The central processing unit is like the brain of the computer, so it controls everything. It is very important to look for the laptop with a powerful multi-core processor, and lucky for you, the Windows 11 laptop has that. Intel Core i7, which is a type of quad processor, is a brand of central processing units, so CPUs, or microprocessors provided by Intel, one of the world's leading semiconductors manufacturers. These processors are widely used in computers and laptops, and they are known for their high performance and versatility. In more technical terms, an Intel Core i7 CPU central processing unit is a multi-core processor that belongs to the Intel Core series of processors. It typically features multiple processing cores and threads, which allows it to handle multiple tasks simultaneously, or an AMD Ryzen 7, which stands for Advanced Micro Devices. These processors are excellent choices for software engineers and software development. This is what makes the laptop work more efficiently. Lucky for you, as I said earlier, the Windows 11 laptop has all of this, so you don't even need to worry about it. So, as I said earlier, this is what I'm going in detail when it comes to the terms of the hardware. A multi-core processor is like having multiple brains in one computer chip. So imagine you have a big task to complete, and instead of doing it all by yourself, you have several helpers. Each helper can work on different part of the task at the same time, making the job faster and way more efficient. It's like a group project. Each person pitches in to make the presentation amazing. Similarly, a multi-core processor has multiple cores, so think about it as mini brains. On a single chip inside your computer, each core can handle its tasks independently, which means your computer can work on several things at once, like running multiple programs or handling complex tasks more quickly. It's like having a team of workers on your computer making it faster and better at multitasking. Most software engineers and developers often prefer Core i7 processors for compiling code and running virtual machines as they require substantial processing power. This is why I would highly, highly, highly suggest you would get the laptop 11 Windows because it's just very good that has all this stuff. Now I'm going to be talking about the clock speed. So higher clock speeds measured in GHz, which stands for gigahertz, are better for single-threaded tasks. So what this means is a program that can only execute one task or instruction at a time. So clock speed, often expressed in gigahertz, as I said earlier, refers to the speed at which a computer or a laptop central processing unit CPU can execute instructions or perform calculations. In simple terms, it represents how fast your computer's brain, the CPU, can process information. So imagine your CPU central processing unit as a factory worker who can perform a certain number of tasks per second. The higher your clock speed, which is measured in gigahertz, as I mentioned earlier, the faster this worker can complete those tasks. So a CPU with a higher clock speed can perform calculations, run software, and process more data quickly than one with the lower clock speed. From my perspective, the ideal GHz gigahertz for a software engineer laptop depends on the specific tasks and technologies they work with. Generally, for most software engineering tasks, a CPU central processing unit clock speed range of 2.2 GHz to 4.0 GHz should be sufficient, and you're in luck because that is what the Windows 11 laptop offers. Now I'm going to be talking about RAM, or also known as random accessing memory. So RAM is like your computer's short-term memory. In simple terms, it's a place where your computer stores data and programs that it needs to access quickly while it's running. So imagine if your computer is a desk, right? And you're working on a project. RAM is a space on the desk where you're keeping the papers and tools you're currently using. It allows you to quickly switch between tasks and access information you need right now. The more RAM your computer has, the more desk space it has to work with, which can make your computer run faster and handle more tasks at once. When you turn off your computer, everything in your RAM gets wiped clean, just like off your desk at the end of the day. While your computer is on, RAM is essential for smooth and efficient operation. Now I'm going to be talking about the capacity. From my perspective, a minimum of 16 gigabytes of RAM would be best most for software engineering tasks. If you work on large objects or using memory intensive applications, I would consider you use a 32 gigabyte or more, but a 16 gigabytes will be more than sufficient, which is what the Windows 11 laptop has for you. So now I'm going to be talking about gigabytes, as I said earlier, which is a type of byte. So a byte in simple terms is a unit of digital information storage and processing. It's a small chunk of data that computers use to represent and manipulate information. A byte typically consists of 8 bits, where each bit can either be 0 or 1, like a tiny switch that can be turned on, 1, which means on, or off, 0. Bytes are the building blocks of digital data and are used to represent various types of information, such as numbers, letters, symbols, and more. For example, a single byte can store a small integer, a whole number, between 0 and 255, or it can represent a single character in a text document, like the letter A or the digit 7. Bytes are fundamental to how computers or laptops store and process information, and they're often grouped into larger units like kilobytes, KB, megabytes, MG, and gigabytes, GB, and so on, to measure the size or file storage devices and memory in computers or laptops. So now I'm going to be talking about the type of RAM. So DDR4 or DDR5 RAM is standard. Faster RAM, random accessing memory, can boost overall system performance. The memory type on the Windows 11 laptop has a DDR4, which will be very sufficient. DDR4 stands for double date rate 4, and the 4 is just the number it used for the new version. So the old version, for example, would be double date rate 4 or DDR3, and it's a type of computer memory technology. DDR4 RAM is used in modern computers, including laptops and desktops, as well as some servers actually. Here's what DDR4 is and what sets it apart. So for one, the improved speed and efficiency. DDR4 double date rate 4 is an improvement over its predecessor DDR3. It offers high data transfer speeds and improved energy efficiency. DDR4 RAM, double date rate RAM, or random access memory, as I mentioned earlier, modules can transfer data at high speeds compared to DDR3, making them more suitable for handling the demands of modern applications and operating systems, which is very helpful to your profession. Second, lower operating voltage. DDR4 RAM operates at a low voltage compared to DDR3, which helps reduce power consumption and heat generation. This improved efficiency is beneficial for laptops and other portable devices where battery life and thermal management are important considerations. Lastly, 3. Increased bandwidth. DDR4 RAM provides increased memory bandwidth, which means it can deliver more data to the CPU central processing unit at a faster rate. This can lead to an improved overall system performance, especially in tasks that involve moving large amounts of data in and out of memory. Overall, this is a big advantage for the Windows 11 laptop for its price. Now I'm going to be talking about storage, SSD. So I'm going to go into more detail on what SSD and what it stands for very soon. So when choosing a laptop, choose a laptop with a solid state drive, SSD, rather than a traditional hard disk, HDD, which is what the Windows 11 laptop offers. SSD, which stands for solid state drive, as I just mentioned, are much faster and provide quicker program load times. So SSD is a type of storage device used in computers and other electronic devices. SSDs have become increasingly popular in recent years due to the significant advantages over traditional hard disk drive, HDDs. Here's a basic overview of an SSD is and how it differs from an HDD, hard disk drives. So 1. No moving parts. Unlike HDDs, which stand for hard disk drives, which use spinning magnetic disks to read and write data, SSDs, solid state drives, have no moving parts. So they store data on microchips using a type of memory called NAND flash memory. This lack of moving parts make SSDs more durable and less prone to mechanical failures, which I consider a very good advantage. Next, energy efficiency. SSDs consume less power than HDDs, which can lead to longer battery life in laptops and lower electricity bills for desktop computers. This energy efficiency is partly due to the absence of moving parts. Now, capacities. SSDs come in a range of capacities, a few gigabytes to terabytes, while HDDs, hard disk drives, still tend to differ from higher capacities at a lower cost per gigabyte. SSDs capacities have been increasing and they have now been more sufficient for most users' needs. While we're talking about capacity, depending on your needs for your occupation, you need at least 256 gigabytes of storage. For more extensive projects, or if you intend to store a lot of data locally, consider 512 gigabytes or a terabyte. The great thing about this laptop is that it has 512 gigabytes worth of solid state drive, which will be more than sufficient enough. Now I'm going to be talking about the graphics, the GPU. In simple terms, a GPU, or graphics processing unit, is a specialized computer chip that is primarily designed to handle tasks related to graphics and visual processing. It's like a super fast and efficient assistant for anything involving images, videos, and 3D graphics on your computer. Graphics rendering, the main job of the GPU is to render graphics. This means it takes instructions from the computer software, like video games or graphic design software, and turn them into images that you can see on your screen. It does this very quickly and can handle complex visuals, making the games and videos look smooth and realistic. Most software engineers don't require a dedicated graphic processing unit, which is a type of graphics card that is separate from your computer's main central processing unit, a CPU. It's designed specifically to handle graphics related tasks, and it has its own dedicated video random access memory, so a VRAM. As a software engineer, since you won't be doing too much with that, you can use an integrated graphics unit, which means that's built directly into the CPU, like the dedicated one, which is separate and adequate for coding. Intel is the only one which is used for the Windows laptop and will be more than enough. So in short terms, you don't really need to worry too much about the VRAM, the video random access memory, because you as a software engineer don't really have to deal with visuals since you're not into graphics or anything, you just have to deal with code. So the one that's already built into the laptop Windows 11 is more than sufficient for you, so don't even worry about that. So everything that I've talked to up against this point were the hardware core features that are in Windows 11 laptop. Now I'll just summarize the peripheral that they will need or that you will need, which is already provided in the Windows 11 laptop. So keyboard. So the laptop keyboard is an integral part of the device, allowing you to input text and control functions. Many laptops have built-in backlit keyboards for typing in low digit conditions. So as a software engineer, obviously you're gonna need a keyboard because you're gonna need something to write code on, and the Windows laptop 11 already has a keyboard, so you don't have to worry about that. So next, a touchpad and a trackpad. Laptops come equipped with touchpad or a trackpad, which serves as a pointing surface to move the cursor on the screen and perform various gestures and navigation. So just the pad that you move your finger around just to uh, organize things, you can say. That also comes with the Windows 11 laptop. No need to worry about that. You're all set. Next is screen/display. The laptop screen or display is the primary output device, allowing you to view and interact with the operating system, applications, and content. Some laptops may have touchscreens for additional input options. Even though it's not touchscreen, you don't need a touchscreen as a software engineer, but all the main peripherals are already in the Windows laptop. So Windows 11 laptop. So you're fine. So everything for the peripheral aspects of it, you're all set for. Now I'm going to be talking about the software aspects of the Windows 11 laptop that you will absolutely need. Now I'm going to be talking about improved performance. Windows 11 was expected to include various performance optimization and enhancements which could benefit software development tasks, especially when working with resource intensive applications and development environments. Next, modern user interface. A modern user interface, in simple words, is how things you use on a computer or smartphone look and work. It's like the design of buttons, menus, and screens that make it easy for you to use, and it makes it easier for the apps and websites to function. A modern user interface often has clean and simple designs, uses bright colors, and works very well on different devices like phones or computers. It's all about making technology easier and more enjoyable for you to use. The refreshed and modern user interface of Windows 11 might provide a more visually appealing and user-friendly environment for software engineers. Next, virtual desktop enhancements. Enhanced virtual desktop functionality in Windows 11 could be valuable for software engineers who often need to switch between different development environments or projects. Next, compatibility with development tools. Windows is known for its wide compatibility with development tools and software, and Windows 11 is expected to continue this tradition. Popular IDEs, which stands for Integrated Development Environments like Visual Studios, are likely to work seamlessly. Next, gaming features. While not directly related to software development, the gaming features in Windows 11 could be appealing to software engineers who also enjoy gaming during breaks. Lastly, security enhancements. Windows 11 was expected to include security enhancements which are crucial for protecting sensitive development, work, and code so that it doesn't get leaked or other people don't hack into it. Now I'm going to be talking about operating system support functions/tools in the Windows 11 laptop for software engineers. WSL, which stands for Windows Subsystem Linux, is like a special tool that allows Windows computers to run Linux inside them. So imagine you have a computer that speaks one language, which is Windows, and you wanted to understand and use another language, Linux. WSL acts as a translator, making it possible for Windows to understand and work with Linux software and commands. This is why Windows 11 is a very good choice for its price. In practical terms, WSL, was, as I mentioned earlier, stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux, lets you run Linux programs and use Linux commands on your Windows computer without needing to install a separate Linux operating system. It's a handy tool for developers and engineers and users who want to work with both Windows and Linux software at the same time with the same machine. So, as I mentioned earlier, this is why Windows 11 is a very, very good choice. Even though it's very cheap, you're getting your money's worth. So, I think that's very good, especially with how expensive things are nowadays. So, highly recommend. WSL, as I mentioned, which stands for Windows Subsystem for Linux, allows you to run Linux distribution alongside Windows, which is valuable for developing and testing Linux-based software. It provides access to a wide range of Linux tools and utilities directly from the Windows command line. Next, Visual Studios. Microsoft Integrated Development Environment, IDE. Visual Studio is a powerful tool for software development in various programming languages. Visual Studio offers features like code debugging, code profiling, and integrated version control. Next, Windows Terminal. Windows Terminal is a modern and customizable terminal application that supports multiple tabs and pans, making it easier to manage command line tools and develop environments. Next, a PowerShell. PowerShell is a powerful scripting and automation tool that allows software engineers to automate tasks, manage systems, and perform various functions. Next, Windows Package Manager, which is also widget. So the widget command line tool allows you to quickly install and manage software packages, including development tools from the Windows Package Manager, which I think is very helpful. Next, Hyper-V. Hyper-V is a Windows feature that enables you to create and manage virtual machines, which also stand for VMs, which is useful for testing software in different environments and configurations. Also, Windows Performer Monitor, which helps software engineers monitor systems performance and research usage, which is valuable for optimizing code and diagnosing performance issues. Lastly, Task Manager. Task Manager provides real-time information about running processors and resource usage. It allows you to end processes and applications that are unresponsive or causing issues. I'm also going to be talking about the Windows Event Viewer. So what this is that logs systems and application events which can help diagnose software and system problems. Next, Windows Debugger, which is also WinDBG. WinDBG is a debugging tool that software engineers can use to analyze crash dumps, diagnose issues in their applications, and debug Windows as well, which is very impressive to me. Next, Windows Subsystem for Android. This feature, available in Windows 11, allows you to run Android apps on your Windows laptop, potentially useful for testing mobile apps. Next, accessibility features. Windows 11 includes a range of accessibility features and tools that can assist software engineers creating accessibility software. Next, security features. Windows 11 includes security features like Windows Defender, Antivirus, Windows Defender, Firewall, and BitLocker to protect your development environment and code. Next, File Explorer enhancements. Windows 11 File Explorer includes improvements such as red signed interface and enhanced search functionality, making it easier to navigate and find files. So all these are extra benefits to the Windows 11 laptop, which I think is just fantastic. So another reason why I recommend this laptop. Now I'm going to be talking about networking. So Wi-Fi network. This is the most common way to connect a laptop to the internet and other devices wirelessly. Windows 11 allows you to search for and connect to Wi-Fi networks, including your home network, public hotspots, or corporate networks. Next, Ethernet network. You can also connect your Windows 11 laptop to the internet using Ethernet cable. This is wired connection is often used in offices or homes where a stable and high-speed connection is required. Next, Bluetooth. While not a traditional network, Bluetooth allows your laptop to connect to other nearby devices like headphones, speakers, smartphones, or wireless mice and keyboards. Also, mobile hotspot. If you have a smartphone with a cellular data plan, you can use it as a mobile hotspot. This means your Windows 11 laptop can connect to the internet through your phone's cellular data connection. Next, VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. VPNs create secure and private connections over the internet. Windows 11 supports virtual private network connections, allowing you to access resources on remote networks or browse the internet securely. Next, I'm going to be talking about malware. Because more people use Windows, they're easier to hack into. There are different ways that people try and ruin your laptop, such as Trojan horse, ransomware, spyware, and adware. I'm going to be talking about Trojan horse first. So this is where it misleads users of its intent by disguising itself as a standard program. Ransomware, which threatens to publish the victim's data or permanently block access to unless the ransom is paid off. So, for example, if a hacker will hack into Apple and freeze all its data and say, Apple, you have X amount of time to pay me $100,000, or you have this amount of time, pay me $100,000, then I'll unfreeze your data. So Apple has two options. They can either redo all the data or just pay them the money. And obviously, because there's so many Apple users and Apple is a very popular company, they need their data quickly. So what are they going to do? They're going to pay the ransom, and then that's how they got the money. Next, spyware. So spyware is basically when people just spy through you. It's in the name, and most people use it to spy through your finances. And lastly, adware. Adware is where a virus shows up on ads. All these malware is why whenever there's a new update it immediately to prevent bad things from happening. So I'm going to use an example of COVID, right? COVID was something new and very devastating. And it was, as I said, it was something new. So doctors had to find a way to create vaccines. So they needed time. So it's not something they immediately had a vaccine for. They had to analyze it, and then they created a vaccine from there. That's exactly how malware preventions are. Once they realize it's out there, they're not going to fix it right away. They'll only fix what they know how to fix, and then whenever there's a new update, it means, hey, this is like a new vaccine. So this is why whenever there is a new malware up and there's a new update, they're trying to protect you from all the previous malware and the new malware that they know of. Next, I'm going to be talking about malware preventions. So Windows defendants against antiviruses. Windows 11 comes out with Windows Defender Antiviruses, which is Microsoft's built-in antivirus software. It often offers real-time protection against a wide range of malware, including viruses, ransomware, spyware, and enables by default and is regularly updated its viruses definitions to keep your systems protected. Windows Firewall. The Windows Firewall is a network security feature that monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic. It helps prevent unauthorized access to your computers and can block malicious network activities. Smart Screen. Smart Screen is a feature that helps protect against phishing, which is the PH one, not phishing, attacks, the downloading of malicious software from the internet. It warns you if you're about to visit a known harmful website or download a potential unsafe file. Windows updates. Keeping your Windows 11 system up to date is crucial for security. Windows regularly releases updates that include security patches and fixes bugs. To ensure that Windows updates is enabled to receive those updates automatically. User account control, which also stands for UAC. UAC prompts you for permission when changes are made to your computer that requires administrator level access. This helps prevent unauthorized changes and malware installations. Lastly, Microsoft Edge browser security. Microsoft Edge, the default web browser in Windows 11, includes various security features like sandboxing, smart screen, and strict site isolation to protect against web-based threats. Now, in what I just mentioned previously on the last slide, I talked about different types of malware, but I didn't talk about phishing with a PH. So phishing with a PH is probably one of, if not the most dangerous types of malware. It's very scary because it doesn't look like a type of malware at all. So let's say you get a spam email, right? And you think it's an actual email. They will address it to you as if it's the actual company, and it's very scary. So instead of addressing you by something random, they'll always address you by your name, which is something actual companies do. And in order to catch phishing, you can hover over a link if they provide it, or just to make sure it's not phishing, you could always go online and see if you ordered something. And if in that email they have something they didn't order, then you know that's phishing, right? You can also always call a company and ask, oh, hey, is this but so-and-so? Did I order this and that? If it's no, you know it's phishing. So just always be careful because phishing is very, very, very dangerous. So listen to your Windows 11 laptop and make sure you just take the extra precautions just in case. But I just wanted to remind you of the pH phishing, because that's very dangerous as well. Also, as I mentioned earlier, when I said never be afraid to call it out, I mean never be afraid to call it out. So when you're calling someone and you think that you're bothering them, or you don't want to say anything because, oh, you think it's nothing, oh, nothing bad's gonna happen. Don't think like that, because bad situations can happen to everybody. Don't be afraid to call it out, because it's better safe than sorry. Because are you going to be sorry when all your banking information is taken over? Are you going to be sorry when you get hacked? Are you going to be sorry when all your programs are done for or frozen? Just never be afraid to call it out, because it's going to affect you in the long run. So just always be careful. This is what I would recommend if you have extra money. So if you do have extra money, I would recommend the MacBook Pro 14. The MacBook Pro 14, as it's a MacBook, it's quite expensive actually. It's $2,599. Um, I would recommend this because it has all the things that the Windows 11 laptop has and a bit more. So the Windows 11 laptop is known for their powerful CPUs, GPUs, and Apple RAM, and that's kind of where the Windows 11 laptop lacks a bit, because with the RAM and the SSDs and all that stuff, you have to update that, and in order to do so, you have to use a motherboard. Um, and a motherboard is the foundation of your computer, and it's like the frame of your house. It provides the electrical connection and pathways that allows all the parts of your computer to communicate and work together. Without a motherboard, your computer components wouldn't be able to function as a cohesive system. So if you want to upgrade your RAM and everything, it's just a lot of work. And the MacBook already has all that. But it is quite on the expensive side, but on the bright side, you don't have to pay for anything. So a MacBook Pro for the 14-inch one has everything the Windows 11 has one, but the RAM, in my opinion, is better. So that's what I would recommend if you have like around like $1,000 left and you just want a better, or $2,000, or you want better quality laptop. I would also recommend the MacBook Pro 14-inch. However, if you don't have $2,000 extra and you still like the Windows 11 laptop, as I mentioned earlier, I would recommend for you as an update to update your RAM, so update your whole motherboard in general, to increase your random accessing memory, or your CPU. Actually, that would be better to increase your central processing unit. Um, so if you would like to upgrade your RAM to a DDR5 instead of a DDR4, which would be way faster, you would have to check things on your motherboard, such as motherboard compatibility. The motherboard must support the type of RAM you intend to add, and it should also have available RAM slots, so random accessing memory slots to accommodate additional memory modules. And for the random accessing memory slot availability, check how many RAM slots are available on your motherboard. Most motherboard have multiple slots, allowing you to add more RAM. So you can do this. Will it cost you money? Yes, it will. Will it cost you as much money as the MacBook Pro 14-inch? No. But it is a lot of work if you don't know how to do it properly. If you don't know how to do it properly, you could seriously mess up your Windows 11 laptop. So you could always get someone to do it for you, which will also be more costly. But if you really like the Windows 11 laptop, as I mentioned earlier, and you just want to update the DDR to a DDR5, then that's okay with you. But just make sure you know what you're doing and you can watch some videos or ask someone to do it for you. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And here's my bibliography.